What are your plans for Iraq? Well, the first thing I tell them is that, ladies and gentlemen, as long as we have one soldier or one Marine or one sailor or one Air Force person in the armed forces in harm's way, it is our responsibility and our duty as Americans and as the freest country and the strongest country in the world to protect them and give them the resources to be able to defend themselves any step of the way. And no matter what your politics, withholding funding for our troops is not an answer. We must give the Iraqi people a stake in their nation and stability in their future. Look at the problems in Iraq. They go back centuries. The Shiites and the Sunnis have been fighting each other for 1,400 years. We're not going to miraculously change such deep-seated animosities or hatred. We must stop trying to force people who hate each other or disagree to live together, and instead focus on giving these diverse cultures their own piece of Iraq and the incentive to live peacefully within a larger nation. I have a three-step plan to create stability in Iraq so our troops can leave sooner rather than later. First, I would require the al-Maliki government, which is a duly elected government, one that which we brag about having to help formulate, and we were very proud that the people in Iraq voted in a democratic manner and elected their leaders. Now we should ask those leaders to decide whether or not they want America in their country. I am confident they'll vote yes, and it will immediately give legitimacy for America to be there. But if that government votes that we should pull out, ladies and gentlemen, and give the power to the Iraqi government to make that decision. As we do here in America, America has 50 states in which we have duly elected governments. Iraq has 18 territories. I believe and would push very hard to allow those 18 territories to elect their own leaders, just like we do in Iowa, Illinois, and Wisconsin, and allow them to operate under a national government. And what then would happen is the Shiites would elect Shiite governments, Sunnis would elect Sunni governments, Kurds would elect Kurd governments, and you would have the opportunity for individuals to move into those territories which are controlled by their religious theocracy, and you would get away from this inane civil war that is killing each other. Third, ladies and gentlemen, I would encourage the Iraqi government to split up the oil revenues just like we do in Alaska. 1/3 to the federal government, 1/3 to the state territorial governments, and 1/3 to every man, woman, and child. And if every man, woman, and child was receiving part of the oil proceeds and resources, you would see that they would be watching their government leaders to make sure that they are being honest, because it's their money in their pocket. You would also see them banding together to defend the oil wells so they would not be blown up, and you would also see them try ways to expand the oil reserves. And Iraq has the second largest oil reserves in the world because it would mean more money in their pocket. And you know, just like we do in Wisconsin, if you get a steady stream of income coming in, you will not only build your houses better, you will also build schools and hospitals, but you also start businesses, and that's what Iraq needs, is the people in that country to have the opportunity to have a future and a dream like we do in this country and start their own businesses. And that's a plan, ladies and gentlemen, that will work. And taken together, these three steps will give Iraq's both the government and its citizens an ownership stake in their country. Iraq is just one front in the war on terror, however, and our enemies plotting in caves are never going to rest until we win this war. And that is why we must recommit ourselves to rebuilding the American military. Our armed forces must have the capacity to dominate any war or any conflict we must enter, all while having the capability to fight a multi-front war. Our military is simply stretched too thin to protect American interests overseas and at home in these dangerous times.